Hi everyone, I'm Marla Miller from marlamiller.com presenting quick query critique session. I think it's our, I don't know, somewhere in our high 60s. I don't think I have any announcements, so I'm just going to go ahead and start reading this query letter, provided that, there's my specs and they're clean enough. All right, dear agent, Soup Happens is blank's 60,000 word monomythic memoir. It is set among two widely publicized events, Hurricane Katrina and the Soup Nazis franchise, giving her story strong competitive advantage. 13-year-old Deborah and her family escaped the rising water of Hurricane Betsy. 40 years later, storm develops in the Atlantic and Caribbean, coinciding with the trouble brewing in Deborah's marriage. Before she recovers from her husband's betrayal, epic disaster strikes when Hurricane Katrina destroys her home and way of life in Louisiana. Her quest begins as her journey takes her to Colorado. In an attempt to start over, Deborah and her husband David open a Soup Nazi franchise in Colorado Springs, unaware of the perils before them. Strong-arm tactics expose the franchisor's true identity and create a financial fiasco for the franchisees, forcing Deborah and David into bankruptcy. The couple faces the terrifying threat of homelessness and relies on charity for support. Marital problems resurface with the overwhelming struggle to survive. Employment moves them to Golden, Colorado. Isolated from family, they remain dependent upon each other as they grow further apart. The plummeting economy and strain of anxiety unleash the formidable foe of fear, but change is inevitable. The Seinfeld show's popularity in American pop culture, the franchisor's alleged ties to organized crime, United States v. Leno et al., and soprano-like personalities, along with Deborah's journey of personal survival and growth through the aftermath of Hurricane Katrina and a failing marriage, widens Soup Happens' crossover appeal. AP reporter David Caruso reveals the Soup Nazis' troubled franchises in his article on 8 early closures. Since that article, 40 stores have closed. Deborah was interviewed by the Gazette and the independent newspapers. Fox 21 News did a feature story on Deborah, which aired Christmas Day 2006. Although a new author, Deborah's experience and diligence in crafting Soup Happens gives her voice authenticity. She has numerous media contacts and is in touch with several former Soupman franchisees. Your interest in great memoir and reputation of working with newbies is why I'm soliciting your representation. Thank you for your consideration. I look forward to hearing from you. Okay. So what do I think of Soup Happens? Well, I must tell you, it reads like she's really thrown everything in there but the kitchen sink. And I'm lost, frankly. First of all, she makes an assumption that we, the reader, know about the Soup Nazi franchises. And I don't. Now, that doesn't mean anything, but if I don't, perhaps the agent she's pitching this to doesn't either. I think this is kind of dated news because it happened in 2006. We're now at 2011. So unless this was a national story that really, garnered a whole lot of attention, and I'm kind of a news junkie, I don't think that fortifies this story at all. It actually confuses it. So let's just kind of cut to where I think this story begins to have problems. Essentially, this is a story about a relationship gone south, a long-time marriage that doesn't weather the storms or the hurricanes, if I may borrow from Hurricane Katrina. And that's a story that's been told a lot of times. So what's different about this story? I don't really know. I will tell you this, that the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5th paragraph, where she then goes to Seinfeld's show and organized crime and Soprano, I'll tell you, I know that what this author is trying to do is trying to let the agent know that there is a broad appeal for this kind of story, because we all, so many people love The Sopranos and Jerry Seinfeld. But geez, what does it have to do with the price of tea in China, really. I don't know. I don't mean to be glib, but this story, if it's a memoir that is about a couple who was not able to weather their own storms, then keep your eye on that narrative arc and get rid of the rest of it for the purposes of this query letter. This could be a case, and I'm just, again, I don't know anything more than you do. We all know the same thing because I've read it to you, and obviously I posted on the website. But this might be a case of someone who got the title of Soup Happens, which is really cute, really catchy, and then really twisted an entire story to work underneath that title. Beyond that, I honestly don't really know what this story is about. If there is a Soup Nazi franchise, and if in fact they did go south, then I would really focus on how that disaster is interwoven with the personal disaster. So how the professional and the personal mirrored each other. Okay, now that might be something interesting that she can play with, and maybe she has in the story that's already written, and it's 60,000 words of memoir. So if in fact they were their marriage, perhaps they went into a business together hoping to save the marriage by kind of united we stand, divided we fall. And that in fact doing the business together just exacerbated the conflict that was within the relationship. I would focus on that. And beyond that, I'd really get rid of everything else. The Jerry Seinfeld and being interviewed in 2006. I'd really focus on how their external story of trying to build a business together that wasn't able to be successful, and trying to keep a marriage together that ultimately wasn't successful. I would really wrap those two things and keep my eye on that, and I really wouldn't spend too much time on anything else, at least not in this query letter. And see if you can't come up with a query letter that really synthesizes those two and focuses those two, and I invite you to resubmit. But at this point, there's just too much of everything and not enough of anything, and I hope that this bad news is received with the intention that I deliver it, which is to be helpful, to offer you a constructive critique. Until the next time, be well, keep writing.